Alright, now, with system problems, there are only a couple ways they can ask you to do these in word problems. Now, the first and most prevalent way is they're going to have a word problem, and they're going to ask you to solve for it. Example, we have 13 dimes and quarters. Alright, and they are worth, let's say they're worth, I don't know, $1.75. Alright, now of course there will be more words here. There'll be a name thrown in there like Sammy has this many dimes, this many quarters. They're worth $1.75. You have some options. The first and most prevalent option is to write your equations out. So D plus Q is equal to 13. We have 13 dimes and quarters. And they're worth $1.75. So 10 cents times the number of dimes plus 25 cents times the number of quarters is equal to $1.75. Now, there are a lot of different ways to go about solving this. You can use substitution. You can use elimination. A few of you will use guess and check. On the star, there's going to be a lot more fill in the blank or open-ended questions. So I wouldn't suggest relying on picking out the answer choice, although that is also fair. Example, if you had the answer choice, it would be 10 dimes and 3 quarters as answer choice. Let's just call this answer choice B. All right, it's easy to take those answer choices and substitute them in there and see if they work. But I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of that, although that is an effective method. So you can use substitution, elimination, or other things to do that. Guess and check also effective. Another way they're going to show you systems, which is very troublesome for many students, is either using graphing, like they might say, using these two lines, what might be the solution? You have to find that point on a graph, know what you're looking for. So this point right here would be the solution to a system. Or, harder, table. I don't know what it is about tables. Some students, they just don't like it. If these are my x values, and I have two different lines, y1, y2, let me show you what this table might look like. Get some points here for me to estimate. So let's call these x values, let's say I had x values -2, -1, +1, and +2. If this was y1, these values for y, let's call this -1 for right here, +1 for right here, +2 for right there, and then, well, this would actually be 3 and then 4. Now this one, of course, would be 4. Let's call this one 5. So that one's 7. And let's call this one 8. Alright? So, if we take this graph away, you're now looking at this table. Alright? And you will see these on some of the answer choice, on some of the questions you see on the STAR video. They're going to ask you for the solution to this system. You've got an x value, you've got a y value, you've got a whole bunch of numbers. What do? I have no idea what I'm looking at. These are simply an x and y table values. If you are looking for the solution, you're looking for when both x and y are the same for both equations. Well, x is the same for the equation each row. X is -2, here are the y. X is -1, here are the y. X is 1, here are the y. The y values are listed separately. You're simply looking for when the y values are the same. Because when the y values are the same, and the x value is the same, you're going to get a cross. You're going to get a solution where they're both equal. This is what we're looking for on the STAR. You're going to see a few questions like this. You might see a few like this where you have to draw the graph. You might see a few like this where you get to find it. And you might see a few where you have to get the answer yourself and list it. Like they might say, what were the dimes worth? You will see that question. Alright, so you might have to work that question out on your own. Also, you might be picking out the equation. That's probably the easiest one, least amount of work. So be ready. Lots of different ways you're going to see systems. The one you want to look for, this one. Because these, we go over a lot in class. You should know how to do these by hand pretty easily. This one is a very, very specific. If you know what a table is and you know what those points mean, you should be just fine.